Hello, everybody. Welcome out to the Death Battle cast. We are the cast and crew of Death Battle. I'm Ben. I play Wiz.
I'm Sam. I write things.
Yeah. I'm Nick. I write the other things.
I'm Chad. I play Boomstick.
We are always so good at this intro.
Yeah, intros.
It's just like perfectly flawless, always in sync. Or excellent.
Yeah.
We've only been doing this for how long? How long has this podcast been going on?
17 years, Nick.
Which is crazy, because that's a lot older than Screw Attack itself.
Yeah.
And some people may be watching for the first time because we're live on YouTube. So hey,
Hello, everyone.
thanks to the gift of first week at Rooster Teeth. Normally, we do this broadcast live on the Rooster Teeth site every Friday at 4. But as like a little holiday gift, all of Rooster Teeth's live broadcasts this week are also going live on YouTube. So hey, if you like watching the cast live, then you should totally click that link in the description and start a first membership trial, and then you can watch us every week.
I guess this is the show kind of leading into Christmas. So Merry Christmas, everybody. Happy holidays.
Yeah.
And we hope you liked Sephiroth vs. Vergil.
Yeah. And now we're going to talk about characters killing each other.
Yep.
Nothing says the holidays like that.
Like murder.
Yeah.
Specifically, Sephiroth and Vergil, two kind of demonic, very, wow.
My favorite Christmas figures, really.
Yeah, really. I mean, Sephiroth has the whole God thing going on.
The angelic
Vergil
thing.
has the whole demon thing going on. It's like they're part of the Christmas story.
Perfect. Yes, I remember.
I remember when they witnessed the birth of Christ. That was my favorite verse in the Bible.
All right, well, we'll get into Sephiroth vs. Vergil a little bit later on in the show. We do need to cover the community death battle that we decided on last week. And every single week we come up with a matchup that we throw over to you guys to discuss who you think would win on Twitter using hashtag DeathBattleCast. And last week, we came up with Emperor Palpatine versus Voldemort.
Oh, yeah.
Which is actually kind of
I'm excited about this one.
semi-common death battle request. So I'm very curious to see what everybody had to say about that. So we can go ahead and bring up the first answers. I think this is for Team Voldemort.
Team Voldemort, he who must not be named. We have Dude Blade X who says, Palps, I love that nickname, Palps lacks the means to block and the agility to evade the killing curse of Avada Kedavra. Looks like the Emperor has no life left. That was admittedly forced.
Oh, man, he's just cramming the puns in. That was great.
Greg Loomis Phillips says Lord Voldemort wins. He has Master Legomency, am I pronouncing that right? And Occlumency, so he can enter the minds of others. Also, he has mastered the 3 unforgivable curses, the Killing Curse of Avada Kedavra, the Cruciatus Curse, Crucio, the Imperious Curse, and the Imperious Curse, Imperio. Near immortality via his 7 Horcruxes, commands a vast army of evil beings, genius-level intellect.
I guess that's an interesting thing when we're talking about putting Lord Voldemort into a fight.
Horcruxes?
We kind of have to choose, like, where he is. I assume, like, right after he gets rebirthed in the cauldron? Is that, like, where we would do this?
Oh, yeah, when he's
see what I mean?
Which
'Cause, like,
version of Voldemort?
yeah,
There's
like a whole bunch of different
the
states
Voldemort
of it.
before the Boy Who Lived
Right.
thing happened, and then
there's like
after,
all the little shadows of different Horcruxes.
I mean, is he all that different?
Well, I mean,
I always thought they were basically the same guy, and he just comes back in the same sort of. Does he have a different body when he comes back? I'm pretty sure it's the same body, right?
Excuse me.
He was remade
Bless you.
in the cauldron.
Right.
He came back as that little shriveled up baby.
But yeah, exactly. Did his nose look like a snake beforehand? Is the real question.
I would assume so. I think that's.
Why
No, I mean, when we saw him as, if we're going by the movies, we saw him as Tom Riddle, and he looked normal as a kid. So like something must have happened. Maybe he's just.
I don't think there's any reason to believe that pre-Harry Potter Voldemort and post Goblet of Fire Voldemort have anything really different going on. And just because he's got Horcruxes somewhere, which means that if he dies in the death battle, that means he's still technically alive. That still doesn't really apply to the death battle. Like
the immortality rule.
Yeah, he still died, even if he's gonna come back. Like,
he still was
lost.
defeated in combat, if he is defeated. Even if he's got Horcruxes somewhere else, if he is defeated in combat, that is a victory for Palpatine.
Horcruxes can't save him. Cool.
I'm just saying, we're not picking a Voldemort where it's the back of some guy's head or a little like shadow baby thing.
Yeah, I mean, we're not gonna go that route. We're gonna go. We're going just pure Voldemort.
All right.
But what
standing there.
if he gets killed and then he like turns into the smoke monster and like goes onto the back of Palpatine's head? What's Palpatine willing to do to win?
Did the books ever really
I don't know.
explain?
He becomes
that
a smoke
works?
monster after Professor Quirrell is like killed or whatever and then flies away. I just assumed he was a smoke monster.
Well, he
infect
somehow
someone
possessed
before,
the back of Quirrell's head in the first book,
which is freaky.
and that is not a Horcrux. That is the Voldemort.
God, I can't remember.
And then he just kind of
Why that
leaves,
happened.
and then we don't see him for another 3 books.
If I remember right, somehow they came across each other, and then like he was kind of like a parasite, and so he needed like the host.
Right,
And
he needed
Yeah,
life.
that's
Quirrell,
right.
I think did it willingly, if I remember
Yeah,
right.
I think so. But then he's like a weird corpse baby later on.
Yeah.
So,
You know,
did he possess a baby? Is that what happened there?
maybe.
That's pretty
maybe-
metal if he did, though. Like, I'm not saying he's a baby murderer, but I want to put it past. Seems kind of Voldemort.
Okay.
I'm pretty sure you can call Voldemort a baby murderer. Like you don't have to be like, I'm not saying it.
He
Like,
tried to kill
attempted
Harry.
tried to, yeah.
Yeah. But he didn't do it, though. That's the thing. Like, it's attempted baby murder at best.
All right. Well,
Why
let's see.
Chad should never be on a jury. He's just gonna be like, yeah, that's baby murder. He did it. No. He did it. I'm like, Jesus, Chad. Attempted. Anyways, what did he say
Yeah,
for
let's
Palpatine?
bring up the Palpatine ones.
We have Willis Stryker 264. Palpatine would win the fight. He is a Sith Lord with literally decades of experience and is extremely powerful. Plus, he was able to take over the entire galaxy, whereas Voldemort couldn't even take over a school.
Oh.
throw in some shade.
Plus, Sauron would choose Palpatine. He knows better.
Oh, that's right. Sauron was like refereeing
I
matches.
completely-
Yeah, that's
yeah,
right.
I completely forgot about that stipulation. Thank you, Will, for being the only one so far to take that into account. Brian Frank says, Legends Palpatine is too OP to even consider. So let's look at D canon. Like Disney canon, is that what that means?
Yeah,
I,
I think
I
so.
believe so, yeah.
Telekinesis has ripped freighters out of the sky, barriers which stop most attacks, super speed and agility able to defeat 3 Jedi, masters at once in combat, Voldemort loses.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure Palpatine in the original extended universe could just like will people to death.
Yeah. I mean, he can will people to live forever. Like, that's his thing. That's why he's really old. That was an entire, in Darth Plagueis and whatever, the whole story. But,
Yeah, I think that was. I don't know if he would be able to do that in the middle of combat.
Yeah.
Actually, no, he fails. In canon, him and Plagueis try to create Anakin. They fail, and the Force goes, "Fuck you! I'm gonna do it anyway." But it's gonna be like your downfall in the long run. It's gonna take 40 years for this to happen, and you're gonna take over the galaxy, but it'll be your downfall.
This is
regardless.
one of those fights where it comes to like a really shitty point where it's just like, how do Force and magic work with each other? Because we got really no grounds to say. Like, so if a force field can block magic, like he good, done.
So-
But
In,
Can you just force choke Voldemort like right out the gate?
yeah.
I mean,
And also, like, what can
Yeah.
Voldemort do against the Force? He doesn't got no metachlorians.
we've covered.
You just had to bring up midichlorians.
We have covered magic versus the Force before. We did Harry
Yeah.
Potter
Or
versus
Luke
Luke.
Skywalker.
One of the things that came up was, now this was, when we did this, the Disney canon didn't exist at the time. We covered the expanded universe for
Yeah.
Star Wars at the time,
Which-
so Luke was just OP
Yeah.
as fuck. Which is not anymore, unfortunately, but at least not to that extent. No spoilers. but in the fight, I remember, that was like years and years ago, but I do remember talking about, well, why doesn't he just force choke him to death or whatever? And they can do magic without talking.
They can do magic.
So he could still pull off an Avada Kedavra without having to say the word. He could just point the wand.
Couldn't he just like make him point the wand at himself? Can wizards Avada Kedavra themselves?
I assume so.
You have to really hate yourself.
I mean, yeah, obviously.
Seppuku Kedavra? Is that what you're gonna-
Seppuku Kedavra? Is that what you just said?
Seppuku Kedavra!
Got a couple
That's
chuckles from
probably what it
podcasts. That's when you know a joke lands. It was even delayed.
Talking about killing babies and wizard suicide. Welcome to the Death Battle cast.
I think
Only the
yeah,
happiest
Public,
conversations
we're all
Only the
I think
happiest.
Palpatine would win just because the Force is pretty cool. I don't know. I just feel like Palpatine's got more stuff going on. I guess it depends. Like, if you take the really shitty old man Palpatine, like, just straight from Star Wars 6, like, he's just like an old dude that sucks. But like, if you look at him as a character and what he's done, like we should, he's
I think this
pretty
might
incredible.
just come down to who gets the jump on the other one first.
Maybe.
It sounds like it's a first hit kill sort of scenario.
And especially these are people that, minus the Horcruxes, like their physical bodies aren't like, it's not like you're trying to like punch out the Hulk, like, you know. I think if any of us got a good swing on them, like they'd be down. Like, you know, they're like old dudes that aren't, you know, very strong. Like they got magic in the Force. Like that's their thing. So yeah.
I mean, Palpatine could channel the Force to like block a blow or something like that. Palpatine himself is just kind of a weird character to analyze, especially if we don't include the expanded universe that built on him previously, because he was meant to be kind of a vague character in Return of the Jedi.
Yeah.
I always just assumed he could just will Luke to death if he wanted, but he wanted to toy with him with the lightning and stuff. That was just kind of like his
he wanted
method
him
of
to turn.
fucking with him.
Yeah.
Well, even after Luke says no, he just shoots him with lightning.
I thought he was trying to convince him. I don't think that was like. I thought it was like.
Yeah,
I thought
mean,
he was torturing
he's
him
just
into
an
it, yeah.
Evil dude. He just wants to torture people for fun. Like he could have probably killed him at any point.
Probably.
But you know, we don't know that for sure. So then you look at his fight in the garbage movie, Revenge of the Sith, where he's just flipping around with two lightsabers for some reason.
Yeah.
Even though he hated lightsabers in Return of the Jedi, but whatever.
Well, maybe it's because of that. Maybe
It's
he
because of that.
thinks back and he's like, that was stupid. Now I hate lightsabers.
I pulled out those two lightsabers. I was flipping around my office. It was just so embarrassing.
That's nothing. Grievous had 4, right? Like.
Yeah.
Yeah, but Grievous was cool.
Ben agrees.
Face.
Ben totally agrees.
Grievous as a character was cool.
as a video game boss was cool.
Grievous is a robot lizard man with like
Who
an
coughs a
asthma
lot.
or something.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Like, he just
Yeah.
coughs all the time.
Fucking perfect. I love it. I'm sold on the Grievous concept. We're good to go. It's
They're
fine.
like, we need that breathing problem thing that made Darth Vader so intimidating. Like,
Yeah.
now we'll give
Right.
this robot a hacking cough.
I'm so evil and intimidating. Hang on, let me throw up in the corner. Palpatine's a little vague, but if we just take what we've seen in the movies, and I'm trying to remember in Clone Wars if he does anything crazy. I think he has a couple lightsaber fights, but that's it.
I would like to lean towards forced wins, but I really think this fight would come down to who just got the drop on the.
Here's a question: can Avada Kedavra be blocked?
Yeah, that's really all. If he can force block it, there's no.
Depends on how much his mom loves him.
Well, now here's what's interesting that they did in Force Awakens. You remember when Poe shot the blaster at Kylo Ren, and then he was just like, and just froze it there? Like, that got me thinking. Like, when I saw it, I was like, whoa! Like, I don't remember really seeing that ever in Star Wars. And I'm like, so they can just like stop energy, which makes sense. Force is all things and whatever. So maybe is magic energy? Can we
Well,
use
the
that
reason
as-
why I bring it up is because Avada Kedavra, in the movies, they treat Avada Kedavra like it's a gun, or like a Kamehameha blast or something like that.
Right.
You shoot a,
Yeah, you
you
shoot
shoot
it
a
out.
bullet of energy and it kills something. But in the books, it's not that way. In the books, it is a spell. You point your wand at somebody, and there's a green flash, and they die. And they specifically say in the books that it can't be blocked. So there's like two different versions of Avada Kedavra from two different continuities,
Right.
essentially. So if you're going to go with the movies or with the books, he shouldn't be able to block it. It's like an instantaneous kill.
Can't be blocked or can't be blocked by anything that exists in their universe.
See, but it's still kind of
That's
Yeah.
it's still
Well, there's
kind of-
there's nothing traveling from point A to
And
point B.
also, you got to think of like
there's no
how
defense against it. Then.
how does it kill people? Does it kill like their soul or something metaphysical like that? And then
Probably.
Palpatine doesn't have a soul.
Palpatine's thing is also like he wills himself, like his life is extended artificially via the Force. So it might not be able to kill his life because it's not the same as other people's.
But then he got thrown down a shaft. and was never seen again.
and
Yeah.
died in canon.
I'm just gonna
But
say, I'm gonna
that's
say
the
Palpatine.
Sith stuff. You know. Also, I'm
It wasn't
gonna,
like
I'm
a
gonna,
Sith shaft.
I'm gonna
like
no,
a
I'm
Sith
gonna
hole.
I'm gonna shift over to
I know,
Voldemort.
no chat. We're not,
I'm
we're
gonna
not going down that
go.
hole.
I'm gonna go back to Voldemort because the Sith keep letting their apprentices kill each other. Like it's clearly set in stone. It's like that's what the rule of two is. It's like, hey, the guy you train will kill you.
Yeah, it's really stupid.
They never see it coming. Like it's a rule, and it's always surprised. I don't get it. They're stupid. So I'm on Voldemort now.
I'm also Team Voldemort because I think he could do Avada Kedavra, and I don't think Palpatine's mom loved him enough for any like love spell to block it, like it did for Harry. I just feel like that
Oh
guy
wait, that
had a
proves
lot
that
of
Avada
problems.
Kedavra can be blocked.
It wasn't blocked.
it was redirected.
Yeah, well,
It killed Voldemort.
reflected back at Voldemort. Yeah.
But then Voldemort has
Seems like a block to me.
Well, she sacrificed her life for it.
Yeah, Palpatine's mom's not going to show up in this
It's-
fight and do that, so
Yeah.
An older lady.
Palpatine doesn't have the power of
she
love
can't
on
get
his
there in
side,
time.
which is
Fair.
the only way, I guess, that we know of to block Avada Kedavra. Unless you're in the movies, then you just need to find a
Rock.
Like,
They dive behind a lot of shit.
yeah. I'm probably gonna have to go with Voldemort too. I feel like
all right.
I feel like this is a death battle which would be really interesting to do like an actual episode on and really dive into how these things would play off of each other. And exactly how powerful Palpatine is. There could be
Yeah.
something in the comics
I
where
mean-
he's just like obscenely
yeah,
ridiculous.
And if they say Avada Kedavra in magic is essentially energy, and then they say that the Force can control energy, then it's like, oh yeah, it's Palpatine. Like,
He just like takes it, the Avada Kedavra
Yeah,
in there,
yeah.
redirects it.
yeah.
And then
If it's
just gone.
essentially just a fancy laser, then Palpatine wins. Like, no doubt.
He sees that all the time.
Yeah.
Fancy lasers.
So,
Yeah.
Nothing to do to him.
The real interesting thing is if Voldemort could get off an Imperius curse before.
what's
Palpatine
that one
could
do
do it.
again? I
That
don't
one
really know
controls
about Harry Potter.
people.
Yeah.
I
So
think,
then he
I
could
think-
like literally, he would just be
Isn't
like
there any?
puppet
Is there any
mastering.
kind of situation where that hasn't worked because somebody has so much willpower? Because that totally seems like some brawling shit to write.
Not that I
The
know
Imperius
of.
Curse doesn't work.
The only controversy that came up with the
they
Imperius curse is that
willpower
like
it
when a bunch of people were then saying they were under the influence of it, and you know when they did all the bad shit, so it was hard to tell like who was actually
That's a
a
pretty
criminal.
dope get out of jail free card right there. Yeah.
Yeah. I don't think it's at any point in the book somebody fights it off. I don't remember
Oh
if
well.
they do. I don't think so.
Anyway,
Anyways, that was
all right, you
good.
guys all voted Voldemort. I said Palpatine. Maybe we'll look into this one day.
Maybe. All right. Voldemort wins. Bam. It's done.
Yeah, well, there we are.
Yeah.
Forget that.
All right. Well, that was. I mean, I think it'd be a pretty interesting death battle. So I don't know. We'll see. We do have season 5 coming up next year. Maybe it could be in there. Maybe not. I don't know. I'm not going to tell you.
You do
It's
know.
gonna be a surprise.
We'll just see whether or not it's true.
But yeah, we don't have a sponsor today, so we don't
No,
have
we
an
don't.
ad to like.
Yeah, I mean, if people want to, they can
Position.
just head over to the store and pick up some of this great merchandise, like this beanie, or hey, look, this beacon hoodie. Though that won't help us specifically.
Oh my God,
or
you're
this
wearing
Death
a Death
Battle
Battle shirt
shirt. Yeah,
too?
look, we got a bunch
This
of
will also help us specifically.
store.roosterteeth.com. Make sure
Sam, why are
take
you
us
not
the
wearing-
holidays.
Don't look at me. I have nothing.
Sam is trying to blend in his all black everything.
Yeah. Well, it's one of those days.
The Black Day.
I don't think you can call it that.
I mean,
It is a Friday though, so you know, not
Yeah.
the black one though.
okay. This went weird.
Okay. I don't. Hey, I hope you saw Sephiroth versus Vergil because we're going to talk about that, and we're going to talk about the ending and the victor and some questions that we saw online.
Spoilers abound.
Yes. So, Sephiroth versus Vergil. Nick was the project lead and writer behind it.
Hi, I was the
he's-
project lead and writer behind it.
He's been spending several months working on this and making sure that it is good.
You say that
Man,
with
there's another one of those
not
intros we're
the most
talking about.
confidence?
I don't know. Do you think it's been out good?
Well, so first of all, this one came about because I mean we've seen it requested a bunch, and when we were kind of cycling like, oh, what would be a really good like final project for Torian?
Yes.
And he really wanted to do this one.
This one has been requested for,
Ever.
yeah, I think since Death Battles like started. So we always figured we would do it at some point. But I think we knew from the get-go that it needed to be 3D, that a lot of time would have to be put into really researching these characters, especially because of how complicated Final Fantasy can be.
Yeah.
Yeah, it always sucks to do Final
Yeah.
Fantasy characters.
Yeah, although in Sephiroth's case,
It's a
it
little
is a little better than, there's always an issue that we run into with RPG games, role-playing games, where the characters are based off of whatever the player wants them to be.
Yeah.
So, for example,
Materia.
you know, if you have Cloud, you can give him whatever materia you want in the game. There's a limit to how much he can use, though. So it's not like he can use all the materia and have all the powers. So which powers do you give him in a death battle?
Thank God for Dissidia.
Yeah, Dissidia really helped with that when we used Cloud way back when. But with Sephiroth, it's a little different since he's like the main villain of the game. His powers are very clear. Like, you can't edit them really in the game.
Yeah.
So
I don't know if clear is the right word, but yeah, they're set in stone. We know what they are.
there's no mystery as to like what materia
Yeah.
he's got or what
Yeah,
magic
exactly.
he can use and things like that.
Yeah.
Although when he goes in the live stream and gets all these crazy powers, it does become less clear in that it's a little vague, like Palpatine, with long silver hair.
And then you get Supernova.
Yes, and that was the Supernova discussion is one that we've kind of been, I don't want to say struggling with, but we've had to deal with for years, ever since we first brought Final Fantasy into Death Battle, because it is kind of strange how they're just fighting through the game like normal, fighting monsters, and you know, Cloud and party can die from pretty much anything so long as it's strong enough, and then all of a sudden, Sephiroth throws a sun at them. And then it's over and the fight continues. It's like, what happened? How did that work? So it's so one of the big things, I remember we had so many discussions trying to figure out exactly what Supernova was.
Yeah, but the explanation we came to, I think, is the one that makes the most sense, and it's supported by like official material and stuff like that that they released, like basically data books for Final Fantasy.
Yes.
So that was like super helpful. It kind of helped me breathe a little bit easier when we found that.
Just a quick kind of recap on what we found. So the way Supernova opens is the world around the fight shatters away like glass, which is very similar to some summons.
Well, in a sentence, our reasoning for explaining Supernova is that Sephiroth opens up a portal to another dimension.
Yeah.
At a certain point in time in which the solar system is about to explode. And so that's the short version. This is why we believe that.
The glass shattering is very similar to summons, which one of the data books
Reality
specifically
shattering.
It specifically says that summons take. It's a little unclear about whether or not it is like an alternate dimension or parallel dimension or whatever, but it is the summons take the party
Into their own,
fighting
I think the phrasing was into their own space.
into their own space, so into their own world of some sorts.
Yeah.
What that is not really defined, but it is separate from the real world, essentially.
Yeah.
Supernova looks very similar, seems to be doing the same thing. And it's supported in the other games, Dissidia, and even Kingdom Hearts, which, Kingdom Hearts isn't canon, but
It's another
because-
depiction of Supernova.
yes, because it still uses the same powers, we can't use it as like pure evidence, but we could use it as supporting evidence. So in Dissidia, he opens like a tunnel, like a hole to the supernova just in the space that you were in. And if that were literal, that would mean that the sun exploding would be literally where they were fighting, which it wasn't before. So how did the sun get there? Opens a hole to another dimension. And then in Kingdom Hearts, he literally opens a hole, like it's clearly a hole in space, and he throws it at you.
He throws a hole. Sephiroth throws holes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So there were a lot of, and we discussed it a little bit more in the actual episode, but that we spent a lot of time making sure that we were right with that one because we knew that Supernova, just in general, could be the deciding factor.
Tons of people were getting into the debate on that one.
Yeah.
Austin was a big proponent of the Supernova.
And then that opened up another discussion, which was, well, hang on, if it is another dimension, could Vergil escape? Because he's got a sword that can cut through dimensions.
Right.
There were, and this is kind of how the conversation for Death Battle behind the scenes always goes. We come up with some great thing, and it's like, oh, we finally understand Supernova. Well, hang on, that changes everything with this. how do we, implement this now, and how does this how does the character react to it?
Yeah.
So then we got into the discussion about Yamato and whether or not it could escape it. We were like, yeah, probably. But Sephiroth also has these illusion powers and mind control powers that might be able to play into Vergil and so on and so forth. So, if you haven't seen it, this is when we get into the verdict, and this is when we get into some questions that we saw. And I think one of the biggest questions that people had was, where was Force Edge?
Force Edge, if you guys don't know, is another sword that Vergil has access to.
Briefly in the story.
Very briefly. It doesn't show up.
Real quick, kind of summarize what Force Edge is.
Force Edge is the weapon that Sparta, Vergil's father, used to open up the portal to Hell.
Between Hell and Earth.
Yeah. It was closed with Yamato, which is weird because you see Yamato opening up portals. But it was Vergil's father's trusty go-to weapon, and that's why Vergil was seeking after it. Also, he needed it to open up the portal to Hell again. It was a key to open up the portal to Hell, so that he could hopefully attain his father's power. It's like his whole goal in his life, which he does not succeed at. But the reason why you don't see it in the fight is because at the end of the day, it doesn't really bring much more to the table that Yamato couldn't do and then some. That's kind of the biggest thing. Yamato being able to cut through dimensions, that's going to throw Sephiroth for a loop much more than what is essentially just kind of a sword,
At least in terms of this fight.
Yes, in terms of this
Force Edge has powers, but they wouldn't necessarily apply to this fight.
Right, absolutely. Absolutely.
Okay. And also, there was something like the Force Edge that he used wasn't even full power Force Edge.
Yeah, so in canon, Trish, that girl you might remember from Dante vs. Bayonetta, she's actually the one who has Force Edge, and it's in its awakened form. It's basically leveled up. And it looks exactly like Soul Edge from Soul Calibur.
Yeah, it really does. Yep.
It's this really creepy, kind of gross looking sword.
It's got an eye in it.
Yeah, so it's currently in canon, it's in its more powerful form that Vergil never even got to saw. Got to see. How do I grammar?
So yeah, he used it before it was awakened. So he didn't even have the full power. He's never even had the full power Force Edge at his disposal.
Sword wasn't even woke back then.
Nope.
There you go.
All right.
I'm just here. I had nothing to do with this fight. I'm here for bad jokes. Torian was out of town, and they're like, "You have to be here." And I was like, "Okay."
Yeah.
I'll add some shitty jokes. Don't worry about this. I got it.
Speaking of Yamato, in canon, it is said at some point that it can cut through anything, or whatever. But
the in-game description of the sword says that everything that they show seems to speak to the contrary. We highlight this in the actual episode itself.
So what is the reasoning why it says that it can, but then it doesn't? So why do we pick the actual instance showing that it can't cut through anything as opposed to taking the text literally? I guess is the question.
Why
don't we take the text literally and instead we look at the
Because writers are crazy and they write shit down that sounds cool, and so then we have to take into account all the actual evidence that we have and see whether or not that is actually the case. Because there's a lot of situations where somebody writes something like that, like, oh, it can cut through anything, but clearly that character will then be put in a moment of peril, and if they really could cut through anything, they would have just done it, but they couldn't.
There's also, if that's really the case, one of the bigger examples we showed was how it's blocked by a rocket launcher. It's just a rocket launch. There's no reason that if it really could cut through anything, that it wouldn't just chop right through that.
Sure. So that's a contradiction in the game.
Yeah, it's a contradiction, and just based on what the game repeatedly shows us in cutscenes and stuff, forget gameplay. These are cutscenes. I'll take that over what some text says because we actually see it.
Right, and on top of it, maybe when they wrote that down, they were thinking if it is doing a dimension cut, then maybe opening the dimension will cut through anything. But the sword itself clearly doesn't do that. So
it's not like Silver Samurai's Tachyon field. If you guys remember that episode, where it's sorta kind of like a buzzsaw. in a sense, where the way Silver Samurai's powers works is he can imbue any sword with the power to cut through anything. And that's not what you're looking at with Yamato here. Its big hook is that it can cut through dimensions. That's what the cool thing about it is. It can't cut through anything, but it can cut through dimensions.
Well, actually, a good comparison outside of Devil May Cry would probably be the Pokédex entries in Pokemon. There are a lot of Pokédex entries that seem to contradict what the Pokemon can actually do.
Sam's shaking his head. He's
because the
experienced this
Pokédex
before.
is they just put shit in there. Like they don't even. It's like not. Like, yeah, it's stupid. Yeah.
It's like Wikipedia, where you can't just trust it at face value.
Exactly.
Yeah, so that's another comparison where, yeah, it might say something in the Pokédex. Comparing it to Wikipedia is actually a great example because even in our research, we could find, just in a completely unrelated like kind of element, we could find some text that says that a character can do a certain thing, but we're still going to go see if they can actually do that. We're not going to take text, regardless of where it comes from, at face value, unless it's supported by the actual source, the actual animation, the actual gameplay, the actual anything that we can see or hear from the source.
Do you know what phrase that always jumps into my mind? And this will give like the most vague hint ever to a fight we're working on, but coming across the phrase "power of 1,000 suns." Like, I can't tell you like how many times like writers just think that's like the coolest shit ever, and like just because a character says that doesn't necessarily mean that blank attack is containing the power of 1,000 suns. I just came across that again recently, and it's ridiculous.
I saw that in Voltron when they escaped the comet with the black hole gravity or whatever. They literally reached the edge of the universe, and this angel just gives them the power of 1,000 suns so they can fly off the black hole comet.
What is this power of 1,000 suns? We need to. I just we should just make a character, and that's his power, and somebody defines it. Like
power of 1,000
I have the power of 1,000 suns, and then just like everything.
That's that gold Superman.
Yeah,
that's what that is. He's got the power of 1,000
That's just one
suns.
sun.
No. When he goes and travels through the galaxy and becomes Superman Prime or whatever it was called.
Yeah.
Also, what are the size of the suns? Are they tiny suns? Are they big suns? Like,
are they exploding suns? Are they baby suns?
It's dumb.
Or do they actually just mean the children of people?
Was it a
He gets the power of 1,000 suns, and it's just like like 1,000.
Yeah, but then are they
kids.
baby sons?
Right,
'Cause, like babies
you know.
weak AF, dog. I could beat up
Definition
1,000
is
babies
important.
easy. Like me versus 1,000 babies, I guarantee I got this. Like they're garbage.
That's a lot of babies.
That's a lot.
Garbage.
Dude, I don't. I think
they could be like.
I might get tired out. Like I'm not in great shape. Like that would be my biggest thing.
I think by the end of it, Sam, you'd be hating yourself like a whole lot.
Why?
Baby murder?
Oh well, yeah. I'm not gonna kill 1,000 babies.
But
That was the.
You're just gonna slap them around a bit.
Yeah, like, what do you?
that baby's not.
I'm just saying I could do it.
Okay. All right.
Okay. I mean, if
you
the
insist.
Also,
if there's
if you look
1,000
at like
babies running
if you
at him
look
with
at like
knives,
my equipment, like I got cars. Like I'm just saying.
Okay.
That 1,000 suns is not very impressive.
Why is the theme of this episode baby murder?
I don't know.
It just keeps coming back.
Thank you for joining us, everybody. We hope you enjoy Death Battle Cast, where we talk about murdering babies
I know,
for some
right?
reason.
Why was the sword named Yamato?
Yeah.
Yamato? It's because it's a katana. It's a Japanese sword. It's got a
Do you think
Japanese name.
somebody stubbed their toe and they're like, Yamato?
Christ, I saw it. I saw it coming. I saw.
I told you, I'm showing up for
at
shitty
the corner
jokes.
of his mouth.
That's
and
all.
I'm like, oh, here it comes.
I'm here for garbage jokes. That's what I'm here for, okay? What's the next question, Ben?
Why isn't Sephiroth left-handed? That's a question that we see.
In the games, he's usually depicted as left-handed. That's established as kind of a thing, but there's a lot of official artwork and stuff that shows him as right-handed. So I think an argument could be made that he's technically ambidextrous. He could.
He uses his sword with his right hand in some games.
He does too. Yeah, like he's ambidextrous, definitely. Now because like it seems to be a little bit more prominent in the left hand is why people brought this up.
It's like Link these days. Like in most games, he uses his left hand for the sword, but as of late, he kind of uses his right hand a lot of the time as well. Like Skyward
When
Sword.
they switched to motion control,
Yeah,
because
just
they
the
knew
motion
people would
control.
hate it.
And I'm just glad that there are sources for both because Torin just started animating it within the right hand. I'm just like
That's
super
pretty much
real.
it, yeah.
That's why it's
I
there.
Think his
And
hand just depended on like what kind of shot they needed.
Yeah.
Like it's like, oh, we need him to lift Zack or Cloud up. Oh, it'd be better in the left hand. It looks more dramatic.
Sephiroth wielding a sword is incredibly difficult to like animate just in general because of the size of the sword. Even with
is
motion
absurd.
capture, like it's not like Torian was in the motion capture booth with a 7-foot-long sword.
But he could have
swinging it
been.
around. He could have
because
but
we have it.
He wouldn't have been able to move
Same.
like that.
7 feet, I think. So.
Speed up the footage. That's all you need to do, right?
Yeah, and I think our replica isn't 7 feet. I think it's like 5.
Really? I think we've got it.
Do we have it here?
I think so. I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, it's
Brian
in the
took it.
broadcast.
Oh my
last
God,
I
let's
saw.
get it.
Yeah.
Oh my God, here it comes.
Yeah, here it is.
We had it out here one
Yes.
time.
See, it's not as long, but yeah.
It's not quite. Yeah. Look at that.
There you go.
Oh my God.
Thank you,
I
Austin.
almost broke a window with that thing.
Okay, here we go.
Yeah.
Did you have to unsheath it?
Look
And
at
see,
that.
that's
Yeah, of course.
why it's
more
unrealistic.
dangerous
A
this
little
way.
sharp. All right, this is it. This is the Masamune. We had an actual model which we could take into account and
Which is
try
wrong.
swinging it around and see how it feels. And it feels very hard.
We could have moved.
I don't think
It's
you
very
guys are
hard
on
to
the same
wield.
page.
So just so you know how
Are
awkward
you
this
trying to
sword
put
is.
it back in? Because
Like-
we can't put it back in just
All right,
yet.
fine.
That's cool.
So
I'll
I
put it back
think
in. It makes me feel like you're
Gonna
or
cut him?
anyone is not really
We're gonna like
ready to be
head
doing
somebody accidentally. Okay.
can we
Put it
like,
back in,
Can we get
Chad.
something to cut? That would be
Put it
great.
back in,
If
put
we
it back
could-
in.
that.
oh,
It won't
all right.
cut. Just put it back in.
Just gonna-
Just
gonna-
quit stabbing
just
towards me.
gonna-
Let me
okay.
sheath
Just let
at
me-
you,
just let
not
me-
point
just let me
towards
put it in,
sheath.
Dad.
Oh my God.
You people are fucking children.
Wait.
Wait. Okay.
There we go.
Get it in.
You
There
should have
go.
just made.
Nice
Yeah,
and
you
tight.
could have just
All right.
made a sex joke and we could have gone home.
I
It
didn't.
got dangerous.
I refrained. I thought about it.
Yeah. Okay.
Anyway.
Pretty cool, right?
Yeah, just so you know how awkward that thing is, and I think Sephiroth is actually bigger. But
See,
I tried to jokingly wield it way back
Yeah.
in the day, and I almost broke a window because just by taking the sheath off, it was so absurdly long that I was like, oh wait, and then I had to like shoot it back, and then it hit a window. It was it's not the most.
Probably why I can't think of a time when Sephiroth ever had a sheath. Because he can just like materialize the sword out of thin air.
Oh yeah.
You could not sheath it. Like you can't do it easily.
Sephiroth could.
I mean, I
He's
guess.
Sephiroth.
He would just. I mean, yeah.
He
if
can
you wanted
wield
to
the
sheath
thing
it,
for
throw it up,
starters.
and then like, it would spin
yeah,
around a couple of times.
he's
and
a
be like,
god. Like, of course he can fucking take a sword out of a thing. Like,
It's more of a like arm length.
Yeah.
dog, he grows 6 wings at one point. Like,
He's
just
not
grabs
like
it with
fucking
the
with the wing.
yeah, if he
Maybe he
could.
does.
Also, he has magic. Why is this the hard part? Like, why is that the hard part, Chad?
I'm just saying, it's hard to unsheath.
A normal person could not take this into battle in its scabbard and then try to draw it into battle. You'd have to draw it in preparation, like in advance.
Yeah, I mean, look at this thing.
That's fine.
Like,
Also,
I think that's all he's talking about.
yeah.
also magic.
You're stretching your.
All right, let's fight. Doesn't really work so well. And now it's back.
I think if you
no.
just would try and learn.
Now I have it. Well, we're closing the lights up here.
What are you,
Cody's
what
real
are you
happy
doing?
about that.
See how many lights you can chop down in one swing.
Now I understand why you guys are so apprehensive of me having that sword.
Yeah, it's scary, right? Especially when someone pokes it at your face. Yeah, that's great. Merry Christmas. All right. So, do we have another question?
Maybe? I don't remember. Nope.
Cool.
Oh, wait, there is one. Doesn't Sephiroth need to be in a safer form in order to use Supernova?
Well, we can bring up the Dissidia and Kingdom Hearts examples as probably not. He uses Supernova outside of just OG Final Fantasy VII. He uses Supernova in other media without having to be in that form at all. So that was reason number one for us saying no, he does not need to be in a safer form to do Supernova. Reason number two was there's no model that looks good for Torian
safer.
to use.
Yeah.
We looked, we tried. The only one that even exists, I think, is the original PS1 game one, which I think it would have been hilarious if he just became a really blocky crab angel looking thing. Oh, come on. There we go.
There we are.
Yeah, what is that?
It's a seraph.
That's their take on a seraph?
Yeah.
Well,
I mean, a seraph.
You got to make it more anime and Japanese, but yeah.
A seraph does kind of look like that. Like, it's not like they
Sorta.
just made
You've
up
seen
the
one?
whole form.
Sorry. I know.
Yes, in real life. I'm at one. I mean, we're next door neighbors. It has 6 wings instead of 7. And so the whole black extra wing is added on. But generally speaking, it's a man-looking form with 6 wings coming out of the bottom of their torso. And then no
Out of the
wings.
bottom of the torso? Really?
Or I think it's
like
bottom of the torso and maybe like underneath the arms, something like that. It's like half a man with a bunch of wings.
They're kind of like 6 flippers, actually.
Yeah, they kind of look
With
like a fish
feathers.
person.
That's what it looks like. It's really strange. Maybe the Zora are the seraphs. I don't know.
No.
They don't have
No.
6 of them.
They have legs,
Yeah.
and they're also not trying to fly or.
Well, they
Oh no, they
Dorito.
became the Ritos, so they are trying to fly.
Oh, do we just have a game theory? Hey, Matt Pet, you're not watching this right now, but we got a theory for you.
Matt
Zoras
Pat
are
watches.
angels.
Matt Pat watches, I'm sure.
That'd be cool. if
They're
Matt Pat
not.
watched.
They're
They're not what?
not angels. They got legs
It's
and
just
shit.
a
They're
theory.
they're fish people. Like
It's just a theory.
okay.
A game theory.
God.
Hey, let's bring up some fan art. Let's move on. We got some art from you guys that we love showing off from the hashtag DeathBattleCast.
Oh, dude, these are so cool. All right. So we made that reference to like the show being just like Fast and the Furious, and then here we got
Jace, got this art to us.
Yeah, I love it, man. It's so cool. I incorporated everybody in it.
Family, cars, vroom vroom.
DPC. Like it looks so good. I
so
love
good.
it. I want that to be our
So good.
official logo.
Yeah, ink it up, add some color.
Yeah.
That'd be great.
And then we got some art from
Mario Toast.
Crateroth.
Awesome.
Something
from-
Dorian asked for, I think.
Look at that,
That was
great.
our community death battle last week, which failed miserably.
Oh,
Yeah, it did.
yeah.
But hey, we got this out of it, so that's at least a plus.
Yeah, that looks awesome.
That is like a really cool character. So
Crateroth.
He still
What
has
if
the long
Sephiroth
flowing
and
hair,
Kratos-
but he's a little bit bald.
yeah, just just spring a couple wings out of his ass, and there you go.
Yeah, perfect.
6 of them, to be exact.
Yeah.
Flipper wings.
All right, that looks
else we got?
awesome. I think we got 2 more pages.
Oh, whoa!
my gosh.
Cloud Netta looks awesome. I love the little cloud like blonde tips at the end of the hair. That's really cool.
Oh man.
Oh, the other one's sick too. Wow, you guys are really talented.
I like
Tyson
the
seeing
incorporation of
his
side
character
boob.
Magnus.
Like that's very Bayonetta-ish. Good job.
Man, that's so good.
Although it does look like she's missing one arm at the straps, but you know,
does.
at least it's
No,
strapped off.
It's there. It's just covered in the smoke, but I see the outline.
She's in the live
Yeah,
stream.
there it is.
He or she. It's pretty clearly.
They. I think that's what
yeah,
we're
they.
supposed to do these days.
They are in the live stream.
Yeah, literally one of the most ridiculous things I've drawn, even on par with the Torian sushi platter introducing Cloudinetta.
those are dope.
I forgot about the sushi platter till you
Oh,
mentioned it
I
just now.
didn't.
Thanks a lot. Thanks a lot, Tyson C. Now that's back in the brain.
And then Iskander's, I guess it's a little too late, but I'll send it to you anyway. Just one question. Why Boomstick doesn't announce the next battle anymore? I miss his next time on Death Battle. And slates.
You know, I still write that into the scripts just out of habit.
I know you do. So
It's like a reflex.
yeah, with the introduction of end cards on YouTube, we have a very, very, very limited amount of time to show what we want to show while also presenting options for you to click on like another video or do a thing.
Actually, yeah, really quick explanation about the end cards. So at the end of every death battle, we have those buttons on screen that you can click to go to other videos. YouTube limits how long those can be on a video for up to 20 seconds.
Yep.
So we have to, at the end of each video, get us on camera, talking about the episode, what you can find on roosterteethandscriptdeck.com, and announce the next matchup all in less than 20 seconds, which can be difficult to do, and show off all the credits, because there's a lot of people who work on this show that we absolutely want to give proper due credit to. So there's a lot that we got to cram in there.
Yeah, so cutting out next time on Death Battle helps a lot. I can do it for you now if you want. Next time on Death Battle. Man, I haven't done that in forever.
Yeah.
There we go. No? Didn't really do it? All right, well, there you go.
All right,
That was the last one ever.
Oh no!
It's dead now. You witnessed it live.
we got one more page.
What is this? We've got Heartless Quail, who says, Sith Torian? What an interesting idea. I think you'll do something cool with this design just for you in the near future.
He's got a little like half Lando cape. Like,
I like
Lando cape.
I like the return of the mohawk. Torian hasn't had a mohawk in forever.
I know, but that's great. He would totally if he was a Sith.
And his purple eyes, look at those.
What would we need to find out what his name would be.
What is his
Darth Mohawk.
Sith?
It needs to be something more evil. Like Darth Evil. We talked about
this
Darth
last
Evil.
week.
Let's just
I think
call it
Darth
Darth
Evil
Evil.
works.
Probably. And then John Peter Ahlstrom strikes again.
I loved this.
Emperor Penguintine.
It's amazing.
paid the price for your lack of fish.
I love its little flipper shooting lightning.
I like the feet.
There's no fingers at all. It's just it's an anatomically correct penguin.
Just in a Palpatine robe.
Just in a Palpatine robe and shooting lightning out of its flipper
So when
tips.
we were talking about Emperor Palpatine,
like-
I went to Google real quick to find out more about his backstory, and it just kept trying to autocorrect to Emperor Penguin, and I was like, that's all I can picture is like an Emperor Penguin shooting lightning.
There you
now.
go, then, I guess. So you got your thing.
That's wonderful. I love it.
Fantastic. Thank you guys so much for the artwork.
That was good.
All right. Well, then I think it's time to wrap things up with a new community death battle.
I was not thinking about that at
No,
all.
I wasn't either. I wasn't either.
Emperor Penguin.
Emperor Penguintine
Versus
So I don't know if you want to
Darth Evil.
versus Darth Evil.
I think Penguintine wins. You don't even have to do that.
Just because he's not Torian? Is
Yeah.
that the grounds you're going on?
He clearly is not a great
They announced that Shira's coming back. Shira's got a new Netflix show.
Okay.
So who could Shira fight? So just so you know, like Thor versus Wonder Woman, one of the first matches we talked about doing was Wonder Woman versus Shira.
That was one that we talked about a while ago.
We were back and forth.
There were a couple other potential matchups for Shira. I know Shira versus Xena is requested quite a bit.
I just feel like Shira would destroy Xena.
Yeah.
I don't really know
like-
anything about Xena. Does she have magic powers? Like, is she
She's
like a
got some
superhuman?
ties to the gods in some way. I don't remember. It's been forever since I saw anything from that. But like, she's a really badass warrior. She's like kind of like had the backstory of like trained, like Amazonian style, whatever. But then like
that was
through her
Lucy
adventures,
Lawless, right?
it was Lucy Lawless. The thing is, like, I know Xena has comics, and they probably went crazy
Might
in the
have.
comics.
Kinda like
So
they did
that
with Buffy.
yeah. So maybe we could do that and see what happens.
Let's
You
take a
wanna do-
gamble.
You want to do Shira versus Xena?
Sure. Let's
Princess
do it.
of Power versus the Warrior Princess.
All right.
There we are. If you don't know who either of those characters are,
You have
you
the
should look
internet.
them up. Shira's He-Man's sister, and Xena crossed over with Hercules. Remember
Yes.
that with Kevin Sorbo?
Oh, yeah.
There we are.
All right. Yeah, I like it.
All right, submit your who you think would win and your reasoning, and we love when you guys find like those really cool, like specific, detailed instances. So use the hashtag DeathBattleCast on Twitter. Send us your stuff.
We'll talk about it next time. Are we doing Death Battle Cast next week because it's the holiday week? Yes, we are. Okay.
We'll be
we
back next
We'll
week.
be here next week. Yep.
are. Sounds good.
Good.
Hope you guys have happy holidays. Thanks
Yes.
for watching the show.
Merry Christmas.
Bye.
Merry Christmas, everybody.
Bye.